Welcome to George Coll Fine Art. Here, the viewer is encouraged to get outside and paint from life. George's job is to provide the tools to solve the many technical challenges faced in rendering landscape paintings. View the library of landscape paintings offered and become a subscriber. You can also purchase tutorial videos, plus original tutorial and studio paintings. Thank you, and if you like what you see, click the subscribe button and join in on the fun.
Hello and welcome to part one of a new series called Medicine Bow Creek. I'm working on a 14 by 30, kind of long and kind of a subdued reference, kind of more on the darker side. So that's going to be our challenge, to keep those values working together. So I'll show you how to do that from the very start, which I did today. You can see I've kept it very, very low key here. All right, get outside and paint. Paint with your friends, get critiques, and don't be intimidated by a white canvas. All right, let's get started with part one of Medicine Bow Creek. Right. Hello and welcome to a new series titled Medicine Bow. And this is up in southern Wyoming, right across the Colorado border. One of my favorite places to paint. So today is block-in, and so we're just going to do some monochromatic shapes today and figure out where everything's going to be on this large canvas, which is a 14 by 24, I think. It's long and skinny, so let me see what we got here. 14 by 30, okay. Wow, it's a long one. So I'm painting on a toned canvas, kind of a gray with a warm on it. And then I have 3 coats of gesso, and on that I'm on a 1/4 inch Baltic birch panel. So yeah, good sturdy surface to work on. So today I'm going to mix up a gray, so I'm going to go blue, brown, some burnt sienna, and you can see I make a nice gray out of that. And so I need a lot of it. I mixed them up right before the camera started. And there is our starting drawing color. Makes it a little lighter on one side. And a very thorough mixture. Okay, let's get started. So I'm going to start with a number 4 round brush. So I'm going to loosen it up with a little bit of Gamsol, because it's been not used for a few days. I'm going to dip it into my medium, and I'm going to figure out where these shapes are going to be. One thing I know is that there's kind of a lower area here that has some trees, and then kind of a low meadow type thing in here. And then here is kind of where the end of the meadow is. Here. Big rock in here. Trees coming here. I'm trying to just get a feel for this canvas. I'm trying to work myself into where everything should be. And as you can see, I'm just eyeballing it. Now, a lot of people use a grid, and I think that's a great way to figure out where things are going to be. But my first teacher, I gridded out a reference, and she came up to me and goes, "What are you doing?" And I said, "Well, want to make sure everything's in the right place." And she goes, "Why don't you just loosen up a little bit and try to get this thing going in such a way that you don't have to do that." And I go, "What?" And it kind of freed me up ever since then. And so I've been a follower of that technique of just winging it, as we call it. All right, I think this has to come lower. And I think I still need trees in here. And I need a good one right here. So I'll start with him. And then there's bigger trees behind him. And you see I'm just twirling my brush in my hand to get a feeling of what a pine tree might be like here. I really like a round brush for that twirling thing. You can get a lot of paint off of many sides of this brush. So I'll make this one the more fuller tree, and this one here that I'm working on is the more scraggly guy. And don't take up that side of the painting. Over here, they're a little bit squattier and smaller. And I've got the monitor in the way to my right, and that's going to interfere with getting the angle I want to get. So I have to work a little bit more off the point of the brush. I'll try it from this angle here. And over here I'll make it a little bit more solid. So what I want to be thinking about is putting my paint in thin. And if it's too thick, you can come back and smash it and then pick it up. Or spread it around. All right. Whew. So these videos with these bigger paintings, they're going to be about maybe 45-minute sessions to get this thing pretty much underway. And I hope it's not a fifth, but if it is, it is. No big deal. As things go back, I'm going to make them a little lighter. And I'm thinning out my paint with some of my medium. So we have some, I think the interesting thing about all this is these beaver ponds out in here. And they're going to be I'm going to make them a little larger to make them the focus of this video, or this painting, I mean. So they're going to be somewhere in, make them a little darker. A little bit more blue, a little bit more brown. Medium. And get some sort of feeling of where they're going to be. It's going to be like a beaver pond up in this area, right up in here. So that's just a very rough idea of where it should be. And I'll have it going out in a couple fingers. Alright, so if that is where that is, I will bring these trees out here. Just going to lightly put them in. And they'll be right up in here. And then we'll have trees behind that, and I'm just doing the building blocks of this painting. Okay. And another one behind there. Make this a little higher. Put them up in here. I want to maybe have the ceiling of this thing going here, and then they're going to go higher here, dip here, and then over to here. All right, I see that. And then with this, these are going to come down almost to the meadow. Meadow's up in here somewhere. Starts here, the edge of it. So, let's get some guys here, and here, and here. Smaller guys back in here, and here. Oh, I'm getting a sore arm just working this thing. Right, I keep getting back to look at it. Now I have a big guy right here. And I think these come down farther. I'm kind of making an angle here to show that there's a hill, and again we have little fellows up in here, and then we have some big shapes here, and here, and here, and then they sneak off into the woods here. Okay, if that's the case, let's get hopping, huh? All right, if I would remember to work all sides of this brush, I might get a little bit more paint out of it. I think the purpose of this video is to work in this narrow range of values. Our previous video was a desert scene. It was very bright. This is more subdued. And the values in both of these paintings are kind of close together. The light, there's not real drastic darks and there's not real drastic lights. And that would give us some sort of feeling of, all these values coming closer together but making more of a tonal painting and concentrate more on these subtle, beautiful colors that we're going to find in here. Okay, what I'd like to do is get this great big number 10, and I'm going to dip it into the medium and just get some big block colors going here. I need more guts in it. There we go. What I mean by guts is just more paint. And with this design, I'll be able to figure out how these things in front will be looking. You can see a big flat thing like this. I have two big brushes that are flat. Well, one's big, this number 10, and then I have a number 4 right here. And I use the rounds more than the flats, but for this type of work I'm doing right here, it's very, very useful. But I needed that little one to kind of show me where everything is. I had a better feeling with that small round to draw with, where this one is not so good for, it doesn't give me the feeling of a fine drawing. And we're going to have to get some of this stuff back in here. So it's good for filling in big, wide areas, particularly on a painting this size, to get that stuff in there. So I keep getting back to look at this thing. And so far, so good. Okay, I'm going to put this big fella off to the side. I'm not even going to clean him because I might need him again. And I'm going to go back into my darker mixture. And I know that I think these have to come down even more. And this line has to kind of just snake along the bottom here a little bit. And I'm going to have some trees to the left of, we got these little trees coming off of here. I'm going to lower this and run some trees in here. Little pine trees. Sound like Bob Ross. Okay, so these come all the way up almost to the beaver ponds, to the stream meadow. Just love these little guys in the center. They help fill in this big, vast area with some vertical interest. Then I'm going to have a break, and I'm going to make a bent tree over here. It's a little bit bent, I can see in the reference, but I kind of like bent trees. And then smaller ones in here. This is pretty close to timberline too. The trees are, I mean, it's not easy being a tree up at this altitude. And there's some rocks here with some tops and darks and that's my rendition of rocks right here. Not very good for right now. This isn't very well drawn, but what I want to do is bring this line down closer now to the beaver ponds. And that means I've got to bring these guys down. And that means I have to bring these guys down. And these guys too. And this one. Phew! A lot of angle in this thing. I hope that's going to hold together. And if that's too much, I'll maybe bring the angle up just a little bit up in there. That's too much. I think we can handle this. Okay, let's start working this beaver pond, or this flat pond, a little bit more on where it should be. I think there's like a pond up in here. And then another one, it's just marshy down there. I've gone down there and caught fish, by the way. Little brookies. All right. I do need to get these little tree guys taken care of here. They come out pretty far. And I want to give some emphasis to them. As you can see, if you really look closely, there's a couple hikers right in here. Okay, now there's a bush design in there. It's these willowy type bushes that are in this meadow, and they're a different color and value and all that stuff, and it has to be addressed. So we're going to use a different mixture for that. We'll put the gray right back over here to the left. And I'm going to use this thin gray here for a basis of the new mixture. Okay. So let's throw some yellow into the gray. Let me get some more gray in there. And it's a nice subtle green. Could probably make it a little darker. And I think that might be about all I need right in here. Value-wise, I don't know if I made enough of it, but I will start working that in with a number 4 round. bit more blue in there. There we go. Just have a lot of this all over the place. And a lot of it in this part of the painting. I'm putting it in a little darker than need be, but we can go lights on top of darks without much problem at all. Adding more yellow. Let me thin this down just a little bit. Going a little too dark, so I'm lightening it up with some yellow. Yellow gray. Yellow gray. I'm mixing with my brush, and I know you're saying it's bad to do that. You're right. You're asking, when are you going to get the rocks in the foreground? Yes, I think I should do that. Just know where they are. Studio Cat has just left. I'm not giving in her attention, so she went into the back of this studio. I have another room back there where I make my frames. Make these darks go right up and connect with those trees there. All right. Let me check my time. All right, we've got about 19 minutes to go, and time to get back and see this beauty. Take a drink of water. And we need to go now with a lighter color. It's kind of related to this, but it's got some olive in it. So I'm going to add some burnt sienna to the green mixture and come up with an olive. Add some more yellow. Add some more yellow. And add some more white. A little bit more yellow, and I think we are ready for our new color, which would be down in here. Color value. I'm going to go back and continue to use the number 4 round. And I'm going to go in here with, I need more brown. You know, as soon as you put it on, it's wrong. There we go. Seems to be what we needed. Lot of acreage to cover here today. And if I don't get it finished, at least I will finish it off camera to fill in the blanks. Trying to get to great big areas here as much as I can. The background color that I put on the canvas is kind of helpful. I mean, if I don't get it doesn't conflict too much. Instead of just white canvas peeking out there, it has a much more subtle color to rein it in a little bit. Oh, I better get these. There's all this little work around these trees that I'm kind of dabbing at, and it's going to take some time, but I want to maybe kill that off camera, all those little fellows around the edges here, and work on these big areas first. That's the big thing today. So I think I need to figure out there's some rocks here. I'll put in rocks. Somewhere in there, and more here, and here. I like rocks kind of connected. You have connected, then a few unconnected, then connected, connected, dot, dot, dash, dash. Kind of give a randomness to it. Okay. Boy, I think we need a dark separating this area from the foreground from the rest of the painting. And that is going to be, I'm going to use some of this color we have already mixed up. So I will use that around the rocks. And that will be down in here. And I'll use more of it here, and here. Up in here, I see it as darker. It's more of a vertical slant to it. I'm going to add some more brown to it, to the mixture. Mix it all together. We need a little bit more yellow. And I think that might be a good base color for now. Add a little bit more gray. Just a little bit. Okay. Time for a new paper towel. Just doing some medium, slopped up all sides of the number 4. And here we go. So I will be making this darker for a base color than the meadow. The meadow's getting more light because it's of its angle to this light source, which is the sun. And we can work these variations of values later on in these big dark shapes here. A little bit more medium. You can hear my brush strokes. I'm really slapping around here. And I think that might work for now. All right, we still have time left, and we are going to work on the sky. And then if we have some time, these big rocks over here to the right. Okay, for now, I think what we want to do is just put a nice cool gray on the sky up here. All right, so let me clean the palette. All right, so we need a lot of white. A lot of white. A little bit of that gray. Boy, that's strong. And we're going to put a little yellow into it. And more white. And more white. Touch of yellow, touch of alizarin, touch of alizarin. That might work for now. And I'm losing all my white. I want to make some rocks after the sky. So with this, I'm going to get the old number 10 out, dip it in some medium, and get this up here. Medium. The reason I get everything all covered up, the whole canvas, is it makes me, as I go along in the painting, to make better choices for my color values when I see the whole picture surrounding it. Now, I know that some artists can start right at this little corner and finish it completely and then work it out. I think that's amazing. My brain just doesn't work that well. And I need all the help I can get with what my color value should be. See, I'm getting all that paint off the side of my brush. Even with this big brush, you get pretty delicate and not get too much contamination on it from working around the grays, if you're careful. And I'm trying to be careful. Sorry, I'm getting too much shoulder so you can see this painting where I'm doing this. Okay, now I need to bring these into the trees. Okay. And the back row in some areas are kind of grayed out, so I'm just going to put some of this light medium in the back here, just to keep them going back. All right, getting back to take a look. Boy, we are covering a lot of canvas. One thing I'm noticing, these are kind of, this is too big of a meadow right here. I'm going to have to erase some of this color here and bring some gray in, which I'll have to do off camera to make those changes. Let me see if I can get some rock in over here. Okay, get that new, you know, cleaning out that number 10 takes so much Gamsol because it holds so much paint. I want to try to keep it somewhat useful by getting some paint out of it. I hate it when I forget to clean a brush. So I try to do it when I'm not going to be using it anymore. Okay, now I'm going to go to this number 4 flat and mix up a gray, blue, brown, burnt sienna, blue, and here I go. So the big theory on rocks is light on top, dark on the bottom, and on the side is going to be in between. So you want to have some darks down here. I'm going to make some darks with some brown and some blue. Some big strong darks here, here. And I better get hopping on some of these guys. And then on top, I'll just add more lighter value to it. And put that in here. Here. And here. And get a big honkin' dark on the bottom. Here. All right, that brings us to an end. And what I'm going to do is smooth out my sky a little bit with my paper towel off camera, like this, and picking up any sloppy stuff that I see that needs to be picked up with my paper towel. Thank you so much for coming by for Medicine Bow Part 1. And that brings us to an end. All right, I'll see you in Part 2.